Hello, D23. Welcome to the Marvel Animation panel. Can we turn the lights on in the house a little bit? I want to see some of these beautiful people. Excellent. Welcome. We have a lot of treats for you today. We have a lot of surprises. We have some announcements.
Court Lane! Court Lane! There is no Marvel Animation panel! There is only Venom!
Venom? No, Venom, not today. We have a fantastic D23 audience.
I don't care about D23.
Okay. So, no, we have a lot to show them today. Bye, Felicia.
Felicia? Who is Felicia? A friend of Peter Parker?
Who's Peter Parker? I don't know.
So.
Okay.
I've got plans for you, boss.
We have a plan for you. All right. So I think to defeat Venom and start this panel, I think everybody needs to team up with Spidey, make your best web shooting hands. You know how to do it. Make your best whipping hands. And everybody, on the count of 3, as loud as you can, thwip at Venom.
No.
1, 2, 3, thwip. Again, louder. Thwip.
This isn't over. I'll be seeing you soon.
You will.
Court Lane.
Oh, she knows my name. All right. So speaking of Spidey team-ups, thank you for that. We have a little online show called Marvel Superhero Adventures. We're in our 3rd season, and Venom, go away. Venom, out the door. So we have Marvel Superhero Adventures. All right. We're in our 3rd season, and in September, we're going to have 5 more shorts. And really cool adventures. One of them, Spider-Man gets his Iron Spider armor from Iron Man. And would you like to see that short? Excellent. All right. Let's show them the short. All right, so these Marvel Superhero Adventures shorts, you can find them on Disney Junior, September 2nd, the next batch, and then September 9th on MarvelHQ, our YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, we have lots of great programs, including Marvel Superhero Adventures, our recent Lego Spidey special, lots of great stuff for you to enjoy. But next up, we're going to talk about our Marvel's Spider-Man series and have a great discussion and reveal all the cool new things coming. We have a couple guests. We have Kevin Burke and Doc Wyatt, who are our story leads and producers on the show. Welcome, guys.
D23!
That's a good welcome. We also have an actress who plays a character on this show and on pretty much all of our shows. We have Khavari, who plays Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel.
And begin.
So right off the bat, I'd love you guys to introduce a special clip we're going to show you from the Superior Spider-Man arc that's about to air.
Yeah, that is right. I don't know if everyone remembers exactly how we left off on the Spider-Man cliffhanger, but Dr. Octopus had taken over Spider-Man's body, had moved in, and what we're about to see is that the Avengers, Ms. Marvel especially, are suspicious that something is wrong with Spider-Man. So we're going to see Doc Ock as Spider-Man in his Superior Spider-Man costume as he interacts with the Avengers as they're trying to investigate exactly what is up with their former friend and superhero Spider-Man.
All right, let's see. Aha! Now, fans of the comics know that Superior Spider-Man is a very popular storyline, so replicating it in animation was quite a different thing altogether, though. And so I would love for you guys to talk about writing Superior Spider-Man, Ock in Spider-Man's body, and also recording it, which was a unique challenge.
Definitely, definitely.
Well, in terms of the writing, we love writing Doc Ock because Doc gets to do all this grandiose, he has a very healthy opinion of his mental faculties. And, you know, he always gets this wonderful sort of scene-chewing supervillain dialogue. But in our show, he's much, much younger than in the comics or in other portrayals of him. So we get all this wonderful grandiosity in sort of a teenage mad scientist body. And it sort of doesn't fit in this odd and wonderful, jarring way. But when you add to that he now is in Peter Parker's body, it makes everything sort of to the next level with him. And also he has to walk around and pretend like he's still Peter Parker, but he is so distant from like a normal teenager that him having to pretend to be Peter Parker he's just awful at it. Like being normal is really hard for Doc Ock. And that's fun. That's fun to write.
And well, recording-wise, when they did the story in publishing, they didn't have to deal with the problem of what does this sound like, right? You're just reading the text and the thought balloons that he would have as Doc Ock, as well as when he would interact with people as Peter Parker. You weren't actually thinking about how people were reacting to that, what that sounded like. But we had to solve that problem, and so what we decided to do was something that was a ton of fun because we made it that Scott Menville, who's our Doc Ock, was going to be the voiceover, the internal thoughts and dialogue of Spider-Man, of Peter Parker. So anytime he's thinking to himself, it's the voice of Scott Menville. But Robbie Damon, who's our voice of Peter Parker, we decided, not to have Scott be the voice, not have Ock's voice come out of Peter's body, but to have Robbie's voice still come out of Peter's body. But in this case, it couldn't just be the cadence and the way that Peter Parker talked. So we actually did this bit, it was a ton of fun, but we did this bit in which Scott would read a series of lines from Peter Parker in his Ock sort of voice just so we can get ramped up. And Robbie would hear that, get the cadence, and then eventually find a way to make Peter Parker, through his own voice, have the sort of thoughts and cadences in the way that Ock speaks. So that there's times where it was the most fun thing to watch in the world because we would do a whole scene of internal monologue and then he would do external speaking and it'd be Robbie and Scott bouncing off of each other. But it really felt like the same character. It really felt like this was a cohesive, singular person with two different voices. And there's nothing else like that. That was something that they couldn't do in the comic. And that's something that this series will show in a way that we've never seen Spider-Man or Ock go and have that happen before.
Yeah, it was really, and Robbie really sounds like
it's
Scott.
amazing.
He nails it.
Yeah, it is so, and it is genuinely so funny because Scott's Ock is very funny.
Yeah.
He's very, full of himself, and so when Robbie is doing that, it is hilarious. I mean, they're both extremely talented voice actors, and to watch them play off of each other, it was a trip.
Now, Kat, you've had to record for a bunch of shows: Avengers Assemble, Black Panther's Quest, Spider-Man and Marvel Rising, playing Ms. Marvel. And is there any difference, or for you, is Kamala essentially the same person across all of these shows?
I mean, for me, Kamala's pretty much the same person. She's just really, really excited all the time. And she gets to, be a superhero with other superheroes, which is her dream. So I kind of bring that joy and enthusiasm, or I try to bring that joy and enthusiasm to every series because she's happy. She's excited to be there, and this was no different. I think, but this time she got to be a little bit more bossy.
Yeah. Now, what does she think of Spider-Man? Because she's appeared in the show a couple times.
I'm sorry.
How does she feel about Spider-Man?
I mean, I think she they have like a healthy little banter that goes back and forth.
To me, she's always been sort of like Peter Parker, but for today.
Yeah.
And from a girl's POV. So I think it's really cute to see them together.
It is.
I think
It's
they're actually
adorable.
very similar.
Yeah, they are.
So, Kevin and Doc, how do Ock and Spidey change through the Superior Spider-Man story without giving away the end, which I will say the end has some amazing twists, unlike the publishing version that you're going to be thrilled about. But how especially does Ock change?
Well, we agree. We are so thrilled with how this turned out, this storyline. There are more twists and turns. This is not a direct adaptation of what happened in comics. I mean, this is its own television version. And so what happens is, when Ock goes into Peter Parker's body, he puts his mind into his body, he actually finds some stray memories and things that Peter Parker experienced, namely his Uncle Ben experience. And this impacts Ock in a way he did not expect. He anticipated becoming Spider-Man and just remaining evil, and it was going to be this great twist to bring down his enemy. But now he is inspired to do good, which he did not see coming. But he's going to do good and be a hero in his own twisted sort of Ock way. He doesn't turn into Spider-Man, to the Peter Parker Spider-Man, and he does this in a way we don't expect. So what he ends up doing, without giving anything away, is he comes to a deeper understanding of how Peter Parker is the way he is and why Spider-Man is the way he is. And that's pretty profoundly affecting on Ock and where it moves forward.
And similarly, we're not going to tell you what's happening to Peter Parker because it's crazy and we don't want you to know until it happens. But for Peter, imagine Peter learning more about Ock and about why Ock is the way that he is, and what that means for someone who he's always viewed as an arch enemy or as a rival, as an opposition force. What does that mean when you understand your rival better?
Yeah. I think the story actually is incredibly compelling. It's really about understanding somebody else's experience and it changing you.
Absolutely.
Which sounds cornball. It's a superhero cartoon, but it's truly what the story is about. But now we're going to talk about what happens after Superior Spider-Man and this second season. And we're going to give you a little preview. First, I should mention, season 2 episodes will be airing weekly on Disney XD starting September 8th. They'll come back. And then next year, we have Maximum Venom.
Woo!
And this is a massive event. And to help us talk about that, I'm bringing out, you saw him earlier, Ben Pronsky, the voice of Venom. Venom Ham. So, Ben.
Yes.
Before we get into the story of this amazing event, can you talk about the challenges and the fun of playing the most popular villain in the world?
The most popular. Thanos would probably have something
No,
to say
no,
about
no. I will tell you that globally, from a consumer products perspective and consumer affinity, no, Venom is the most popular villain.
You know, when I was cast, knowing that it's a lot of pressure, you know, but also getting to play somebody like Venom it's an honor. So you know, the fun of it is you get to work with people like Robbie and people like Fred Tatasciore, who's just incredible. And Laura Bailey, and just being in those sessions and being able to work off of those people is it's a blast. But I'd say the challenge is vocally. It's a really, it's hard. It's a challenge. It takes all of my breath support, and like after a session, after every single scene that we would do, it was like just getting that out. That was definitely that's a challenging aspect of playing the character for sure. Is being that creepy.
Yeah. Well,
not that hard. I guess. Thanks, Court.
Is Colette Sunderman here?
Colette?
Colette? No. She talked about coming, but Colette Sunderman is our voice director, and she sort of walks you through all of this. What I'd love it if you could do for the audience so they could see it coming out of your mouth, to do some Venom lines.
Sure.
And see how that's so different from your speaking voice.
Right. So,
Lab experiments made me stronger, better than before, better than Spider-Man.
Give me another.
You want more?
Yeah, one more. They liked it.
Parker and Spider-Man are the source of every problem.
All right, one more.
Okay. From 207. When it's Miles, I'm Miles and Spidey, and he's like,
I will destroy both of you, Spider-Man!
And his face turns red. All right. So, Kevin and Doc, let's talk about what's different about Maximum Venom, because this is a bigger event.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit.
Absolutely. Maximum Venom isn't your sort of standard issue Spider-Man season.
No.
This is bigger. I mean, even from the very concept, this idea of Maximum Venom, of doing a Venom-centric season, just begged to be bigger and huger. So instead of being a typical weekly episode, this is 6-hour-long Spider-Man Venom movies is what this ultimately is. It's 6 specials about Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man Maximum Venom.
And being like that changed everything for us. Like the idea that of doing this event and doing it in 6-hour chunks, it changed the tone of the writer's room. Because you get into a certain rhythm when you're doing half-hour episodes and you put them up on the board and you're changing your beats and then to change this, to take this big idea of Maximum Venom and to push it into this event space really freed up the writer's room to try new ideas and to talk about ways of telling stories that we never got to do in that 26 episode format.
And everything got to be huge. Do you know what I mean? Like we got to the point where it was like these mini movies. And so that has to do very much with the content we're seeing. I mean, when we were putting it together, the production crew was like, how much stuff is going to happen in these episodes, because it just was so massively epic. There weren't so many small sort of villains. There aren't really that sort of thing. This is huge. This is the biggest thing we've ever done, not just in terms of content, but also just in terms of how we're delivering this in 6 specials.
And I think to give something away to the audience, if you've been watching the previous 2 seasons of Spider-Man and the 3 seasons of Guardians of the Galaxy and the various symbiote storylines there, this is the culmination of all of that. A full symbiote invasion of our planet. And Ben, some iconic Marvel heroes encounter symbiotes.
This is true. Yeah. People like Iron Man. Can you imagine that? An Iron Man symbiote? And then we have Hulk. Hulk is, imagine like a venomous Hulk is just, it's insane. And then we have Captain Marvel, we have Thor. Actually, if you guys want, we could, do you guys want to see a clip of it? We could probably show you, if you guys, yeah.
Let's roll some of the superhero symbiotes. So that's just a tiny tease. Get you excited for what's coming. All right, so Spider-Man Maximum Venom will come out starting spring of next year on Disney XD. We'll have a lot more stuff to preview over the next several months and a lot of supporting content leading up to it. But now we're going to talk about Marvel Rising. And for that, yes, Marvel Rising. We're going to bring out Mae Catt, who is the writer of the next Marvel Rising special. She came appropriately attired. Yay, this is her first D23.
Hello, everyone.
So Mae,
Yes,
writing,
sir.
so our next special is called Marvel Rising, Battle of the Bands. It's a really fun story, a very different story even for Marvel Rising. And Mae wrote it for us. And Mae, could you talk about which characters you enjoyed writing and which characters you connected with?
Oh, for sure. It's always fun writing Squirrel Girl because she gets to be unapologetically herself. Same thing with Miss Marvel. I get to lean into being a fan and funneling that through her. I really want to be America when I grow up. She just has the confidence of someone who can punch walls. It's awesome. But I think most of all, I probably related with Gwen Stacy because she takes a lot on. She really cares for her friends. She's always thinking about other people, and I really relate to that.
Now, Kat, who has appeared in all the Marvel Rising content. Yes. Now, we showed a bunch of Marvel Rising stuff to girls, and they told us that they wanted Kamala to be their best friend.
Aww.
And yeah, I know, true. And I'd like to ask you a little bit about what that means to you and why do you think that is?
And that's super special. I understand it because Kamala, to me, she's not judgmental. She is never judging anyone beforehand. She's always giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. And I think everyone wants to feel that way, unconditionally loved by their friends and supported. And for me, to have a Muslim character that other people relate to and want for that character to be their best friend is really, really special. That's not something I had growing up. I mean, that's not something we've even really had until recently. It's very different than what you see out there in media mostly when you have a Muslim character. So that makes me feel really happy and hopeful.
Yeah, it does me too.
For everything. Society.
Doesn't matter to girls. I want Kamala to be my best friend. So Mae,
Yes.
let's talk a little about the story of this particular special.
Sure.
And what it's about, and what are the themes?
Well, I think Ghost Spider, Gwen Stacy, is going to enter into the long tradition of most Spider family people and be really struggling with all of her responsibilities and balancing both her superheroic life and her normal teenage life and the friends she has in there. And she just takes on too much and is constantly in fear of disappointing all of these people. And she's going to have to learn that it's okay to ask for help, and that her friends are going to be there for her. So it's a real great story of just like, in one way, girls being there for girls and just friends being there for friends. Like I was really excited to be able to write that for us. But enough of me like talking about it. Do we want to watch it? We have it, right? Yeah.
Would you like to see the world premiere of Marvel Rising Battle of the Bands? Well, you came to the right place. Roll the whole special for the audience at D23.
Wow.
And there it is. Marvel Rising Battle of the Bands with Kat Khavari as Ms. Marvel and Dove Cameron from Descendants as Ghost Spider. Sky Jackson as Gloria. We also have, it's just an amazing cast. Tyler Posey as Inferno. Whom I forget, Milana Weintraub from This Is Us as Squirrel Girl. Sophia Wiley from Andy Mack and the upcoming High School Musical series as Ironheart. And we're proud to announce that it will start running on Marvel HQ this Wednesday.
Yeah.
So tune in on Marvel HQ on YouTube on the 28th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and then it'll be up there as much as you want. Now, we have a huge announcement, probably my biggest announcement in my 13 years with Marvel Animation. Mm-hmm. Something really unique, something really big and different. Since you've all showed at the beginning that you are amazing friends to Spider-Man, it's time to announce that we have a brand new show coming, our very first preschool series, Spidey and His Amazing Friends. A brand new show coming to you on Disney Junior in 2021. And we're proud to show you some of the graphics here. That's what the show's gonna look like. Let's see the characters, our three leads. And besides these three, you're also going to get to enjoy, as guest stars in the show, Hulk, Black Panther, and Ms. Marvel.
Woo!
And this is a show geared towards our youngest fans. It'll be the first full Marvel series for this audience. And really, here's a little bit about the show. With great power comes great responsibility. And Marvel's Spidey and His Amazing Friends is a show about heroism, super heroism. Now, our favorite arachnid has gotten used to his powers, and he's working solo to protect the neighborhood as he does. But now Peter will discover what it takes to become a truly amazing Marvel hero. And that means to become a spider friend who can work well with others. And along with his friends Miles Morales and Gwen, a.k.a. Ghost Spider, he will team up with heroes like Hulk, Black Panther, and Ms. Marvel, and learn pretty fast that he's not always right, that teamwork and using your smarts along with your powers is the best way to save the day. And so we are so excited to announce here at D23 this series, Spidey and His Amazing Friends, coming in 2021. Woo! All right, and now we have about 10 minutes or so for any fan Q&A, any questions. We have some mics. Where are the mics? Can anybody point to me?
Hand is being raised.
They're over there. All
Back
right.
left.
So if you have some questions, line up to the mic, and our panelists here or I can answer questions that you might have. All right. Why don't we go ahead? First question.
Hello, thank you everyone for coming. It's great to see that we're getting all these Spider-Man stories and shows with what happened with a company called Sonny or something like
Well,
that
I don't
this
know
week.
anything about that.
I don't know anything about that either. But, by the way, you can sign up for Disney Plus downstairs for the low, low price of $140, and you will get an exclusive Founders Circle pin, which I'm happening to hold right here.
Okay.
That pertains to my question for you, Court Lane.
Okay.
So with Disney Plus and this Disney premium streaming service, there are 2 shows, Japanese anime called Disc Wars and Marvel Future Avengers that a lot of fans here have not gotten the chance to see yet. Is it possible with Disney Plus, it could be possible to have those shows on Disney Plus in the future, or are there licensing agreements in place preventing that? Thank you.
Anything is possible. I'm not allowed to speak about that at this time. That's it. Sorry. There may be announcements in the future. We have another question.
Out of every Spider-Man hero, which one speaks the most to you?
I think, why don't we go down the panel for that? Start with you, Kevin.
Me personally, I mean, definitely Spider-Man. Peter Parker especially has always been my favorite character my whole life, like since I was a little kid.
Really?
I mean, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, even my adult life, it is actually not that far removed from feeling like Peter Parker, and so I have always felt that way. I still feel that way. It actually is always been profoundly part of my whole life. So to be able to write this, it's like the obvious answer, but there's absolute truth to that it's Spider-Man, that it's Peter Parker.
For me, Peter Parker also. I started reading Peter Parker when I looked up to him as an older brother, and I'm now, I've got a son who'll be a teenager soon, and soon I will have a son who is a Peter Parker. So he's been a thread through my life.
Kat.
I mean, I would say Peter Parker too, or actually, I would say Gwen Stacy. I know that's not the question, but
No, any spider hero.
I'm gonna go with Gwen Stacy. But yeah, but if I wasn't gonna go, it would be Peter Parker. Peter Parker was always someone for me that was, I don't know, I connected to Peter Parker more than everybody else.
Ben.
Yeah, I don't really have any single one, just because so many are so special in so many, a variety of different ways. But I kind of always really related and gravitated towards Bruce Banner, Hulk, because of the dichotomy of what it is.
That's not the question. I'm just kidding.
Like because he's Bruce and when he rages out, because when he becomes Hulk, like that sort of the duality of that character was something that for me I always found really interesting. So, yeah.
I mean, I will always love Peter Parker, but recently they've created a character named Cindy Moon, whose superhero name is Silk. She is half Chinese, she's mixed race, and she looks like me, and she's deeply meaningful to me in that way. Also Spider-Man Noir.
I mean,
sneak him in there.
You can't go wrong with Peter Parker. You just can't. Yeah. Like Spidey is like sort of the most iconic because of his challenges and being raised. It's a pretty special thing. I think that's why so many people relate to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, for me, because I get to work on all of these shows, it's whichever character is front of mind or that we're doing something with, and so it changes. And I actually wasn't a huge Peter Parker fan until we started doing Ultimate Spider-Man for the first time. I was more of an Avengers, X-Men, soap opera, lots of characters. I was a big Hawkeye fan. But then I really fell in love with Peter Parker and his connection to his mantra and what that meant to him and the sacrifices that he makes every day. But for reasons that I can't get into now, I'm really excited about Peter Parker's Spider-Ham.
Mm-hmm.
So look for something. All right, next question.
Thank you.
Hi guys, I just have 2 questions really quick. One, where'd you get your Spider-Man pin that looks like a spider tracer right there?
I made it.
And then we've seen Venom on the screen animated. What specifically new are you implementing into this new series with Venom?
There is so many different angles to how we're dealing with Venom and symbiotes, and we should actually take a moment to point out our Carrie Rosenberg, our fearless leader, who's hanging out over there, help bring it together as this season that has been, I mean, we know Venom. We know, Eddie Brock and Venom, but we have a whole, we have other symbiotes, we'll say, without giving much away. I mean, we're going to deal with this in ways that you've never seen in publishing, that you've never seen in any animated series, you've never seen in any movie. Like, this is a season worth of Venom stories, so it's not the same story. I mean, we're gonna approach the symbiotes in ways that are completely new.
And on a physically large scale, that's crazy too.
Yes. Size, breadth. Yes.
And some stunt casting announcements over certain symbiote characters that we can't make today, but we're
not
making
gonna
in the
make
future. And then of course Venomized heroes. So we're getting to the full rainbow and cornucopia of symbiote-ness.
No, I know. If you love Venom, there is no place you'd rather be than watching this.
And there's
season.
no place to hide. Good question. Next question.
Hi. What's your favorite version of the Spidey suit?
Okay. This is
Tough.
I got into Spider-Man because of his original black suit from 1984. That's what made me buy Spider-Man.
Really?
I thought it was so cool. But now I'm a traditionalist. I mean, his original suit is my favorite. But I won't lie. I mean, that black suit brought me into Marvel Comics. Really, then arguably made my career. Then was that black suit. So I will always have a love for that original one.
I have love for the classic red and blue, but I have to tell you, Miles Morales' suit, like the first time I saw the design, it blew my mind. I got hooked fast.
Oh, can we bring up the preschool show version of Miles' suit, which I am really in love with right now? Because I think it's a variation on the classic, and I think it's just really cool. And getting to see these three characters with their suits so differentiated, because I love Ghost Spider's costume too. I think it's a really cool look. And it's really fun to see so many girls cosplay, because it is a really cool looking outfit.
Absolutely.
Great question. Next one.
Hi, everyone. First, thanks for being here. I'm a huge Venom fan. Obviously, I'm wearing the shirt today.
Yeah.
I host a Venom show on YouTube. I'm recording my 400th episode.
Are you Seek?
Congrats.
My name is Seek.
Hi, Seek.
Hey.
Chris.
Hi. Thank you for coming.
I just want to thank you for giving me a lot of content coming up on my channel.
Yeah.
But earlier to someone's question about people's favorites, I actually am a huge Eddie Brock fan. I connect with him as someone who always wants to do the right thing, but maybe just has even worse version of Parker luck, and he just keeps screwing it up. How are you approaching him in a season where he's kind of leading an invasion? Does Eddie Brock have any conflict with that?
We don't want to give any spoilers about the season, but going to Eddie Brock, we actually had that discussion when we were planning out season 2, which is that Eddie Brock hadn't shown up in Ultimate, and he had yet to show up in Marvel's Spider-Man, and that, to me especially, that he's the original. I mean, that is Venom, right? That's the foundation of Venom that all of this is built on, and we go, we've gone bigger than that, sort of on a broad sense, because we now know the history of the symbiotes, but Eddie Brock was always very important to us, and finding that parallel with Peter. I mean, there's a lot of parallels with Peter. I mean, Ock has a parallel with Peter, and Eddie Brock has a parallel with Peter, and how Venom and Eddie both raged against him simultaneously. That was extremely appealing to us. We really wanted to play that in the series.
Yeah, the idea that Eddie Brock has a personal problem with Peter Parker, and that Venom has a personal problem with Spider-Man. And so when Eddie and Venom come together, they hate all of Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
And also, we put on Ben. Ben is also Eddie Brock.
Right.
Yep.
That is actually one of the things that, there are a number of people who can do deep Venom-y voices, but he had the ability to be this guy, who works at the Bugle, who's just a regular sort of dude just trying to have a job that turns into Venom. I mean, that's a range that we were looking for anyone that could do this, and he just killed it.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that moment at the end, I think it was 207, after they blast the symbiote off of Eddie, and in that last moment in the gymnasium when he says, like, I'm nothing without you, when he's reaching towards the symbiote, I think it says a lot about the need for power, the need for recognition, and he's constantly trying to chase that, because he doesn't have that in his own life, and he's jealous of Peter Parker. And you're saying, that combination is a very lethal combination. Once the two of them find each other, it's like the symbiote has found his perfect host post Peter, because after he bonds with Peter, he's just chasing that constantly. But he's found sort of the second best with Eddie's anger towards the world.
Yeah.
So
I think, Steve, to your point, one thing that I love about Eddie Brock as Venom is sort of this extreme version of Peter Parker, which is the idea that to be a hero requires all of this sacrifice and pain, and yet Peter Parker still puts the suit on and goes out there even though he gives up so much. With Eddie, that becomes more extreme and dark, that sacrifice that he makes, and so he rides this line of sort of darkness because of that, and that idea that heroism isn't easy, that it isn't, it's not about glory, or it requires sacrifice, that Venom is sort of that dark, twisted side of how that makes you feel. Great question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Seek. And thank you for Venom Vlog. 400 episodes is amazing.
Yeah,
all right, we're over,
that's
so
great.
maybe one or two more questions. Who's next? Last question.
Hey, Dipper.
Thank you.
Is that Dipper?
Oh, yeah.
We got Dipper Punts.
My question is simple. Did you take any inspiration from Ultimate Spider-Man when Peter was imagining himself smaller and in a more chibi form for the new show?
No, actually. And I will say that those designs, the genius of a certain director and designer named Alex Soto, had developed those chibi characters, and it meant to be Peter's imagination. These designs really grew organically around the idea of a preschool show and a preschool world where they could still sort of be teens but have a look. So no, not a direct connection, but I love those visuals, and I have versions of those characters up at the wall in my office because they will always be sort of really pushing the brand in a place that's more fun and youthful and humorous. And even though they didn't inspire these designs, being able to push those chibi visuals allowed us to open territory and then and do other things like superhero adventures and even the Rocket and Groot shorts, and push our animation into different directions, allowed our executives to feel more comfortable there, which has gotten us to where we are with this preschool show. So not a direct inspiration, but sort of opened a door that we walked through, and then another door and another door, and here we are.
And also, for the record, that episode of Ultimate where they are the chibi versions, that's the first episode we ever wrote of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, this is a dream come true. I hope we get to write another episode. And so it's been a great, it was a great gateway in. Yeah, it's been a good time, but that's just a fun episode.
It's a great question. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and that's it for our panel. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Marvel Animation panel at D23. Have a great con for the rest of the weekend. Thank you. And thank you to our panelists, Kevin, Doc, Kat, Ben, and Mae.
Awesome acorns! Click the subscribe button for more Marvel Rising and other nutty videos from Marvel HQ.